Welcome back, guys, to the channel. We had a little bit of sound lag, so we sorted that. I hope so. And I want to welcome Dennis to the stream. Earlier when we went live, it was only Jared and I. So, Dennis, welcome to the stream. I don't know if you guys are hearing me. Jared, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I am hearing you, me.
I welcome Dennis, but I don't know if he had.
Your voice was breaking, but now I'm hearing you.
Oh, okay. Dennis, welcome. You can introduce yourself. Not actually introducing, just a welcoming words. Welcome to the stream, Dennis. Jared, we saw the outcome of what happened today. Man City won the league 4 times in a row, and Arsenal won their game, but they just fell short and they couldn't win the league. So I wanted to find out your say on what happened today. Man City winning the league again 4 times in a row. What do you think?
Man, I think Man City winning the league 4 times, man, shows how unserious the rest of the teams are, man. It's also bad for the league because it makes it look like Farmers League, if it is not already a Farmers League. But winning 4 times, man, that's bad for us, especially for our rivals, man. Winning it 4 times. Yet for us, we keep on saying next season, man. It's getting tiring, man. I just hope next season we do something. Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, we for a minute we somehow became Arsenal, isn't it? After this season, they say next season. Though theirs is a bit better for now. Ours, we finished the season as number 8. I know all of us saw that coming as United fans. The moment we lost to Arsenal, we knew we were going to finish below top 7, and it manifested today. We won the game. We won the game quite comfortably. Brighton dominated in the first half, but United were on top of the game in the second half. We dominated possessions from, I think, 70 to like 85 minutes. Rasmus Højlund got onto the score sheet again. But, it was kind of a feeling like the win didn't even have meaning. But regardless, it's good form for the FA Cup final. I know you guys didn't watch the game. But it felt like a routine win when United are on top of that game. Dennis, welcome back to the stream. I think he's having problems with his network.
Yeah.
What do you feel about Man City winning this league in this form? These guys were way behind the leaders, which was Arsenal, which was Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool were leading this league for like 70% of the season. Then from nowhere, Arsenal jumped on top. Then Man City, as we know, in the second half of the season, they stepped on that gas pedal and they manifested. They won the league. Do you feel like there is enough competitiveness in this league in terms of managers, first of all? Because we have seen Jurgen Klopp, who went toe-to-toe with Man City. He's leaving today. and we have seen the coming of Arteta. Does it feel like the Premier League has managers who are good enough to contest with Arteta, not to contest with Pep Guardiola for this league? This question goes to Gerard.
Yes, man. I think the Premier League has the managers with the tactics. Like if you look at last season and you compare it with this season, and you look at the gap, Arteta has really done something. He has really tried to challenge Pep. Like 2 points. Question of tactics and having the managers. That really proves that we have the managers. Yes? Yeah, probably people are not very consistent. You know, the managers are not very consistent as Pep is, because Pep seems to be someone who is very, very competitive to that point of being consistent. You know, as compared to these other managers. Because Klopp, we saw how he lost. At one point, we thought that he would. We thought that Klopp would go on and take it, but he started losing, man. So yeah, managers. I think the Premier League has the managers. Just consistency, and yeah, everything will be fine. I think next season probably it won't be like the same for Pep, because it's like Arteta has got something that he will try and show next season. You know, these past 2 seasons haven't been good for Arteta, but I think also Ten Hag has something. Probably will show us something. But I don't know. We'll wait and see. Yeah.
Dennis, we've seen Man City win the league today. It was a very rigid defense from Arsenal. They pushed Man City to the final day. We have seen City only go since Pep joined. We have seen City only go 3 times to the final day to win the league, and today was just another one. You may have a feeling like Arsenal pushed them until the final day, but before this weekend, pretty much everyone knew that Man City was going to win the league. I think like 3 weeks ago, everyone had this kind of feeling Man City was going to win the league, even if Arsenal was ahead. Do you feel like Pep Guardiola has kind of created a cloud of fear into the opposition teams in the Premier League? That people just kind of just accepted that Man City are way better than any other team. And do you think that kind of mentality is affecting other teams from showing up for the challenge, even when they play Man City, to go toe to toe with them? And even the likes of Arsenal, who have assembled a good squad over time, to have that belief that we can compete with Man City and actually win this league ahead of them. Do you think Pep has just created that cloud of fear over any other position in the Premier League?
I think it's not just the fear. I think it's Pep. I think Pep is a very good manager, and to defend that point, I want to take Arsenal as the example. This year, Arsenal have played and they've only lost since the start of the year. Arsenal lost only 1 game, and that was to Aston Villa. Just 1 game. So when they lost that game, that was a turning point. That is the window of opportunity that Pep saw, and he took it. And when he took it, he was in the driving seat. But there were still a couple of games for Pep to go for both teams, and they were not easy games. Remember, Pep has been on an unbeaten run since last year. I don't know. So I don't know the mark, but it's since last year, and it's not very easy to keep that run, especially as the towards the end of the season. So, like for some other coaches, maybe the they would they would make a mistake towards the end of the season. But since it's Pep, Pep knows how to handle these situations. Pep knows how to handle the business end of the season. That's why I think it's Pep. It's not just creating fear. It's not just other managers being scared. It's just how good Pep is, and that's the way it is. So this is his fourth Premier League in a row, Premier League title in a row, and it is the first time that this has ever happened. But why are we not surprised? Why are we not surprised? It's the first time it has happened, but we are not surprised because it's Pep, and he has been showing it in the past, I don't know, 8 years, I think. So it's not, because if it was fear, uh, Arsenal would have, Arsenal would not even manage to bring it down to the end of the season, like push City up to the end. I just think Pep is so good, and he's just Pep. It's not just fear. Pep is just very good, and that's why I think he's the best manager in the world.
Yeah, he has proved it. He has won trebles in Barcelona. He nearly won a treble at Bayern. He has won a treble at Man City. He nearly did a treble twice this season. If it wasn't for Madrid to knock them out in penalties, the Champions League. So there is no debate over that. Pep is one of the best managers, and probably cementing himself in the league. You know, he's right up there in terms of the goat of Premier League. 4 in a row. He has won like 5 Premier League trophies in 6 years. That is remarkable for any kind of manager in the world. If you come to this league and win 4 times in a row and 5 out of 6, that is outrageous. And I wanted to go to Gerard. What do you feel like should happen for other clubs to bridge this gap with Man City? We have seen in terms of spending, clubs like United, Chelsea, Arsenal are outspending these guys these days. Because if you're to look at the last transfer window, Arsenal almost overspent more than Man City. Until these guys, and yet these guys, every season, whether they spend or not, whether they're up there in terms of spenders or not, they still come back and win the league. We have seen them only be second once. That was when Jurgen Klopp lifted the league, and they were like third. They were fourth once when Pep Guardiola joined the league. I think third or fourth. So what do you feel? I don't think it's about money. I know people have been making it sound like City overspend more than any other club. They have money, they have honors from Abu Dhabi. What? But we are clearly seeing it's manifesting. These guys being where they are right now in terms of football and winning trophies, it's necessarily not only money, and we have witnessed this. What do you feel like other clubs, the United, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Liverpools? We have seen Jurgen Klopp leave today. Liverpool has a new manager coming in. What do you feel like these other clubs need to do? Is it something to do with structure that Man City are better than all these clubs? Because surely all these clubs can spend the money Man City are spending right now. What do you feel like these other clubs need to do to bridge the gap to where City are?
Yeah, man. Pep is just so good, man. It's so good. when you look at Man City as a club, I'm sure many people realize this. As a club, the management, like the board, the staff, the other workers, and stuff like that. When you look at it, I think the owners of the club and the management in terms of the footballing system, I think they work very well. They work very closely. They understand themselves so well in a way that they scout the scoutings that is done in accordance to what the manager tells them. What works, what fits in the manager's system. But if you look at these other clubs like United, you find those scouts. Okay, players are brought in the not considering the manager's interests. Some players are brought, like for example, I give you an example. Ronaldo, how he came. They did not bring him because he will probably fit in this guy's system, but they brought him because he's Ronaldo. You understand? So those are the things that are going wrong with other clubs. So I feel like we saw it worked also with Klopp. That season where they performed so well. The signings that they made blended so well with the system. Klopp was using. So I think it's all about the coach must be great with the tactic. Then you must also bring the players to fit in the system of the coach, of the manager. So with that, I think can work.
That is exactly what they have done.
That's what, what?
And that's exactly what City always does. They bring in the proper players that fit into the system.
Yeah. But us as United, we don't do that. You see, they bring Sancho. They bring in players, some other funny players. We don't know, man, but they don't work. Doesn't fit in the system completely. So I think that's the mistake that is there. Yeah, that's all.
Yes, Dennis, the same question goes to you. What do you feel like these other top 6 Premier League clubs have to do? We have seen Spurs. They got a new manager. They tried winning games here and there. I think they were number 1 until the 5th week or the 6th week of the season. You know, their manager looks like someone who has very good tactics, but you can't fault him. He found a squad that was with Antonio Conte, and still Spurs finished number 5. So what do you feel like, not only Spurs, what do you feel like these other clubs need to do to bridge that long gap, that large gap between them and Man City? Apart from maybe, with an exception of Arsenal, even if Arsenal finished 2 points behind City, you still have that feeling that they are so far from where Man City are right now. So what do you think needs to be done by these other clubs to bridge that gap?
What I think is people just have it's not easy because of the way Man City is organized as a club and the way they do their business, the good manager that they have. So it's not easy to level up to where they are. But we have seen title races going up to the last day of the season. I think you say that it has now happened 3 times, right? So Meaning, this means that it's possible to defeat City. The only problem is mm, uh, some teams that they just don't have that winning mentality. They don't have that winning culture. Just the one that City has got. City has got the players. They've got the experience. They've got the manager. They've got everything. The money is there. So I think it's those areas where City is coming out on top. But I think if many teams rise up, for example, this season there was a time whereby it looked like a three-horse race, right? So I think if Liverpool had kept on pushing, I think the race would have been tighter, and maybe we would have seen something else, like some other team come out on top, because it being a three-horse race, meaning we don't know where the points are going. Like, um, it's much more competitive when there are more teams involved. But if it's just one team left, then it's not enough it's not enough to challenge a club like Man City in the level that they have reached. So I think Arsenal has done a great job. We can all accept that Arsenal has done a great job this season. It's only because of that one loss that made City take the driving seat. So I think we are not very far away from challenging City, from reaching their levels. Like if other teams can rise up, if other teams can do what Arsenal did. When I talk of other teams, I mean Chelsea should also come into the conversation. Manchester United, although they still look far away, I believe they can also do something like Manchester United has the ability of taking points from City. That one we have witnessed. Manchester United can also take points from City, maybe at Old Trafford. So it's when many teams rise up. I think that's when City will feel challenged, and I think that's how we can defeat City, by involving other teams in the title race. Because what we have seen in the
Exactly.
previous, it has always ended a two-horse race. That's what we have always been, and City has always been coming out on top. So I think the only way to put pressure on a club like City, I think other teams have to rise up and they have to be consistent till the very end. That's when maybe we can defeat City.
Yeah, pretty much that's the bottom line. If everyone strengthens up, and everyone is hard to beat. United is hard to beat. Liverpool is hard to beat. We know Arsenal is already hard to beat, but I feel like if you want to see the gap right now between City and other clubs, watch how United play Man City. We don't put any kind of challenge at all. City possesses the game from minute 0 to minute 90. And that one shows you the gap between United and City. And if even clubs like Spurs are showing more fight than the United. I think in the top 6, it's only United that looks weaker than any other club when they play Man City. Because Chelsea, we saw what happened. 2 draws. Was it 2 draws this season? Or a draw and a win for Man City? And Arsenal, it was like 2 draws. Liverpool pretty much City. It's only United that it's always very simple for Man City to beat in the top 6. So I think United has a very big task. Now, leaving United aside, I wanted to go to Liverpool. We saw Liverpool lead this league 70% of the time this season. I wanted to to ask Gerard, what do you feel went wrong for Liverpool? We saw them drop to third. I think in the third last week of the season. What do you think went wrong for Liverpool?
Yeah, man. Liverpool. They were supposed to take it. I think they ran short of threatening players who can do something, who can make a difference. You know, because the Salahs were off form, others were injured. You know, I think Liverpool just had that problem, and they failed to be consistent, especially at that point where they needed to win. They need to put like a gap between Arsenal and them. They decided to lose Liverpool. So yeah, that's what I think happened. Yeah.
Dennis, we saw Liverpool. We thought they were going to even push Man City more than Arsenal at some point because we had seen what went between Klopp and Pep when they fought for the league some other time, and Man City won the league, I think, by 1 point. So all of us had it in mind, like we thought Liverpool was going to push Man City pretty much to the final day of the season, but we saw them collapse at some point. Do you think Jurgen Klopp announcing that is going to leave kind of affected the players emotionally, or what went wrong for Liverpool?
I think Liverpool had a great run. They looked like the team that was going to take it all because there was a point in the league where they were 5 points ahead and they were in great form. They were in great form at the time. So um, we all thought that Liverpool will push City till the very end, or even take it, since Jurgen Klopp had announced his departure at the end of the season. But there was that point in the season where they lost Trent and they lost Alisson, and those two players are very key to them. And it was not just Trent and Alisson; there were also other key players that were down on injury. I think Diego Jota as well. So they lost a couple of key players, and Jurgen Klopp was relying on these young kids. I don't know their names, but when they came in, they were doing the job while the key players were down with injury. When they came in, they were trying to do a job. They were picking up some wins here and there, but I think time caught up with them. These young kids, I don't think they would carry Liverpool until the very end, and I think that was the major problem for Liverpool. I think that is why they didn't come to the very end. So I think Liverpool, the injury issue is the one that led to their downfall, because there's the key players such as Trent, and we all know what Trent means to Liverpool. We all know what Trent can do. So Alisson as well, they had their second choice goalkeeper for a good part of the season. That is in the second leg. So those players, I don't think they were the ones that I didn't think they had it in them to carry Liverpool to continue pushing for the title race. And I think that was key issue, and I think that's what led to their downfall. I think that's why we saw them crumble in the league. they were losing. They kept on losing points. And another problem for Liverpool also, they conceded so many. They conceded so many goals in the games. Like, the way most that they had, they kept on coming back from behind, and also that's not very safe for a team that wants to take the league, because it's when you keep on conceding goals in every game. Yeah, I think we all know that you can't rely on that. If you keep on conceding goals, and then you keep winning, coming back from behind, there will come a time where the goals will not be there, where your attack will not come up with the goals to get you the 3 points that you need. So I think their defense was also an issue. I think with those few points, I think that's what led to their downfall.
Yeah. I think that explains pretty much properly. I wanted to bring in Arsenal. You know, if you are probably Mikel Arteta right now, or maybe you are Edu right now, what's next for Arsenal? For 2 seasons, they were the only club that looked like they're pushing Man City for this league, and we have seen them crumble to the pressure. I don't think this season it was pressure. Last season it was clearly they crumbled, because of pressure. They've never been in this situation any other time. And this season, that experience already last season, I don't know why they crumbled to that same pressure again. But if you are Mikel Arteta or Edu right now, or any Arsenal fan, what is next for Arsenal? Over to you, Gerard.
Yeah. Man, it's very disappointing for Arsenal, man. 2 seasons, man. Same. Man. But Arteta, man, just keep with the spirit. The next time we win games, just try and win all the game. Take each game as a final. First, imagine if they had won that. The one they lost 2-0. Right now, they will be champions. Just small mistakes here and there cost them the trophy. Probably they will need some more players. One of the players boost them. But I think that's a very good team. They can challenge Man City for the trophy even next season. Taking into consideration that keep up with the spirit. Yeah, I think that's all about Arsenal. They're still a good team.
Yeah, they're a very good team, and they showed the league that they're the only club that can push Man City and not let them run away with the league. And we have seen all that for the last 2 seasons. Dennis, what's next for Arsenal right now? If you're in that boardroom, or is it just as a fan? What's next?
I think what's next is that they have to go again next season, because we have seen this season what they have done. They pushed City till the very end. Last season it was not the case. Last season, it's a funny one, because last season they were on top for most of the season, but they I don't know, they just let it go. There was a time last season where they were a couple of points clear of City, and it was 8 games to go. But I don't know what happened. They crumbled, and they let City get up front. And when City moved up front, they just couldn't catch City. But this season, there's a difference, because they managed to take it to the very last game of the season, and for me, that's an improvement for Arsenal, because now at least next season they'll go with that experience. They'll go with that mentality that it's possible we can still take it to the very last day of the season, or we can still improve on other areas where we made a few mistakes this season. So I still go back to that point of Arsenal dropping points to Aston Villa, because I think that's the only game where we can say Arsenal lost points this year. Okay, we can talk of first leg, but there the league was still not there for Arsenal to win. It was only until that game of Aston Villa in the second leg that Arsenal was in the driving seat, and I think that is a game where Arsenal showed that they are not yet ready to be champions, because in order to be champions, you have to be number one, and they were not number one. So, and why didn't they end up in the first position? It's because of that loss. And when I go back to that game, Arsenal, the way Arsenal played, it ended 2-0. The way Arsenal played, it clearly showed that they're not ready to be the champions, because Aston Villa came with a game plan, and their game plan worked. So I don't think Arsenal showed enough in that game to win the game, and I think it's because of that match that Arsenal do not deserve to be the champions this season, because as we have seen from City, when they start winning games in the business end of the season, we all know, we have all seen it for years, they don't stop. And it's that one game for Arsenal that they lost to Aston Villa. That is a game. That's the difference. That's the difference. So everyone, if you ask any Arsenal fan, they'll go back to that game and they'll say that is where they lost the points. It's not like last season where they lost points in many games. They started losing from Liverpool, then they went to West Ham, then Southampton. They kept on dropping points. But this season, I think we can all agree that it was only that one game that cost them the title. Otherwise, Arsenal have been good. And I think going next season, they just have to improve on we make a few transfers, signings. They don't need so many players. They don't need to add so many players. They just need a few key players in a few certain positions. And when they do that business well in the transfer window, I think they will still be there to challenge next season.
Yeah, that's very true. Jared, what do you feel like these guys need to do? Because in terms of transfers, we have seen them, Declan Rice, which of course we know what Declan Rice has added into this Arsenal team. You've seen them go for David Raya. Anyone could argue whether David Raya has been an upgrade on their former keeper, Ramsdale. We all know David Raya has been an upgrade. So of course, if they are judging that business, we can all comfortably say that was good business. We saw them make some solid other transfers for backup. It feels like the Arsenal of last season, based on the business they did on the transfer window last summer, which led them to this season falling behind Man City with 2 points. You feel like they made all the necessary signings that they were lacking. You know, apart from Timber that got injured, unfortunately, and he came back just today in today's game. What else do you think in the transfer market to bridge this gap of 2 points behind City? Because we also, with goal difference, maybe they finished, Arsenal finished, I think, by a goal ahead of Man City. So it's clear that they just lost because of the points. What do you feel like Arsenal needs to do on the market? Again, I know you're not an Arsenal fan, but you watch their games. What do you feel like they need to do on the transfer market to bridge that 2 point gap with Man City and lift this league next season? Because clearly it looks like they are the only one that are up to the challenge in Man City right now. Gerard.
Yes, thank you. For me, I think that Arsenal, they they may need more players, but that's not the primary, that's not the main thing that they have to do, because we have seen their players. Their players will perform very well as compared to other teams. But I think what they need to do is be more clinical. You know, it's mistakes that they occasionally make. Getting those draws, getting those unseen losses. Just get rid of those things. You know, like to do that and maximize their win. I think they can close that gap between them and City. I think they can perform more. Yeah, that's all.
Anthony, before you came in, we were on this topic of what Arsenal needs to do next season because they pushed Man City to the limit and we saw City win the league by 2 points at the end of the season, which ended today. So, what do you feel like the Gunners need to do next season to bridge this small little gap between them and Premier League title in terms of transfers? We saw last season get some really statement signings that made, I think, all Arsenal fans feel like finally it has to be this year. Got a Declan Rice for £100 there, which was particularly to me a big statement signing. He wanted Declan Rice, but he chose Arsenal at the end of it all. And somehow that felt like finally these guys are going to get the better of Man City because tactically we all know in the end of last season we just felt like they needed these small pieces of the jigsaw to finally lift the league that Man City ended up winning this season. So in terms of transfers, we know in terms of structure up there now, they're very good in terms of structure. What do you feel like Arsenal needs to do to win the league next season?
Well, thank you. My apologies for delaying, but it was due to reasons that were beyond my capabilities. But for Arsenal next season, you can see from this season they had the best defense. They have also the best attack from the number of goals they are scoring. But I think the reasons as to why they're not Premier League winners right today is because they relaxed a bit. And this relaxation could be because of not having enough depth. So if you're telling me where Arsenal could improve, I would go for a striker. I think I would only go for at most 4 signings for Arsenal. A striker, I would go for a striker. I would go for a right winger. I think Saka has, yes, he has performed, but he needs competition on that wing. And I would also go for a defender, a right back, and maybe a left back, maybe a right back or left back, but also plus a central defender. I think those four signings will make Arsenal very, very strong next season, and especially if they hold on Pate, um, Rice, and the other guy, and the Italian. If they keep hold of those two, the Italian and Thomas Partey, if they don't let go of Jorginho and Thomas Partey, then Arsenal is going to be a very strong team.
For your take on that particular Arsenal debate. I heard you. This goes back to Anthony again. I heard you say something that they relax in terms of their depth. Arsenal last season, everyone could say that easily that they won the league because they lost the league because Saliba got an injury, and they kind of became weak after that injury defensively, and they had a little bit of injuries also with Gabriel Jesus. Bukayo Saka was pretty much playing every game. But this season, even Arsenal fans can attest to what we are saying, I think. They have been very lucky in terms of injury. Their key players, apart from Jurrien Timber, which you can argue that he was not a key player at the beginning of the season because he was a new signing. He was not coming into the team to take any position at that point when it was coming. That was the only big injury Arsenal had last season. Gabriel Jesus, we know, is on and off. He's on and off like that. So even coming into this season, I think Mikel Arteta, and we also Gabriel Jesus being a bench warmer this season because his position was pretty much sealed. So I don't know why you're saying they lost the league because of depth. Because Arsenal had the least injury record this season. They have the best injury record. They had the least injuries this season. So I don't know why you're saying that. Maybe you could tell us why you attest to lack of depth as to why they haven't won the league.
Yeah, my main reason is because of depth, and this is because if they had one more attacker, maybe they would have scored fast against Aston Villa. And all Arsenal needed is just one more win. So this one more win, it could be maybe against Aston Villa, against West Ham, one of those games where they lost. And you look at their options. Gabriel Jesus wasn't performing the way the coach wanted. You can clearly see that's why he changed the style, he changed the way they were playing, and he decided to use now Kai Havertz more. But imagine now if they have someone like Oli Watkins there. If they have a proper number 9, if they have someone who just be there at the end to finish everything. Someone like maybe Ivan Toney, Ole Watkins, you know. Just that one addition alone could make Arsenal a very strong team next season. It could make Arsenal stronger than the way they have been right now. So, and when it comes to defense also, you know, what has happened this season, it could be luck. So, and in football, yes, sometimes you depend on luck, like the way it has happened to Man United. You could say Man United was not lucky this season. From the day go the season started, Man United has not been lucky. It has not been lucky with injuries. It has not been lucky with referees. They have been unlucky in so many things. So, as football people, you cannot depend on luck. That's why I'm saying next season, if Arsenal wants to contend again for the title, they need to increase their depth. That is I think Arsenal, they're almost that stage where they just one more 100 million signing. I think Arsenal, they are just about that stage, but they need to make 4 signings. Maybe they depend on Julian Timber, but they need to make a striker, like two, if not 2 forwards, then at least a striker. We cannot hear you.
We can't hear your lungs.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Dennis. I was taking this to you. I know majority of you lads didn't watch United play. We played pretty much okay football. We have never dominated this game this season. Even Wigan Athletic dominated United this season. You know, in the FA Cup, I think last 16 or something like that. And it was a story again today. We kind of found a way to win, and we won a win which wasn't even of any weight, but I guess it was good for the spirit of the boys heading into next weekend. It felt like a routine, but there's nothing routine for United as we know this season. There's nothing that has been routine. I wanted to ask you, Dennis. The curtain finally was drawn today to what has been a very awful season for we United fans, and I think for anyone that loves it has been a bitter season, a properly bitter season, a season no one wants to remember. But I guess we picked something to learn as fans. Even players, I know most of them, even right now, know that I'm not going to be playing here next season. So the season has been very poor. But what I wanted to then is if you're Ineos right now, you've seen United finish 8th, season is done. They have an FA Cup which is coming next weekend, of which they might not even win if you're basing it on the current form of the new Premier League winners, Manchester City. United has no chance. If you're Ineos, the summer is here. What will be your first step towards changing this 8th position what will be your first step? Immediately the transfer window opens.
I think there's so many things to do. There's a lot to do for Ineos, especially for Ineos. There are very many things to do because you first have to start with the recruitment. Actually, it's Ineos has to recruit. He has to recruit a lot of not just players. He has to recruit. He has to think of all the things. Which areas can I recruit in? Like, is it the coaching staff? Is it the players? Is it elsewhere? Is it in the kitchen department? So there are so many things to think about when what making decisions about United for Ineos. So I think Ineos, I don't know, he has a lot to do. But what I can say or what I can suggest is he should first think about the coaching department. He should first think hard. He should first think hard about the coach that we have right now. That is Eric Ten Hag. The decision that he makes will be key in this area, because if he decides to continue with Eric Ten Hag as a Man United manager, then that will be on him. That's his decision, and it will mean that he has opted to continue with Eric Ten Hag, given the form that we have seen this season, given the performances that we have seen under Eric Ten Hag. If he chooses to go with Ten Hag, that means it will be up to him, and we shall also judge him for that, because it was one who made that decision to continue with the manager. So that is very key for him as well, and also it's key for next season for the team to perform. Will also depend on the coach that to go with next season. So if he keeps Ten Hag given the form he has seen this season, then I worry. I worry for him. I also worry for the club, because personally, I think if we can get someone better, we would rather do that. But when you look at the market currently, there is no one who is better. Like, no one who has yet for me. So anyway, it's a tough decision to make, because Eric is a good coach, but what we have seen this season is worrying. And now that we're going into the next season, we want to be better than this season. So if we decide to continue with Eric Ten Hag, then it's still a worry. Still a worry. It's still 50-50. We don't know what will happen. There is hope that maybe with the players back from injury, maybe if he gets another transfer window, maybe he can do good business, and hopefully the season kicks on well for Man United. But also, I've seen some points in this season that makes us believe that Eric Ten Hag is not the guy, and maybe decision when they are making the decision on the manager, they should maybe look for someone better. So that is on the managerial decision, but also on other decisions about the players in the team. We all know that there's a lot of work to be done there. We have to offload so many of them in the team, in the squad. Some of them are already confirmed, they're already due. Some of them have to be sold, and we also need to bring in other players. Now, it will also depend on the manager, and the recruiting team in general. You asked me what is needed, what needs to be done for Man United as a club, and those are the things. Those are the major things we have to. So for Ineos, he has to look on those, mainly those two areas: the manager and recruiting the players. Now, recruiting the players will depend on the manager. So it's a strange one. It's a strange one. So like there are so many things to be done at United, and I think those are the major areas that they need to look at first before they go into other areas of the club. I think the key areas are is the team, and then the coach who will take us next season. So there are so many things that need to be done, but we should focus on those ones, and maybe other things can wait. But mainly going into next season, we should know which next manager that will take us into the next season.
Anthony, we've seen our season unfold, and today came the last day, and the last day to that misery. We all suffered collectively as United fans this season. Hopefully, we win the FA Cup. But if you're Ineos, what will you do since the summer is here to change all this misery the fans had to endure with this?
All right. I agree with what Dennis was saying. That the first thing would be I would sit with Eric. I would sit with him and ask him, and we converse. We have a conversation there. We talk about how the season was going, what were the challenges of the season, and we come to a mutual agreement. Do we see that that Eric, first of all, Eric should feel that yes, I should continue next season. Then we Ineos should also feel like we need to continue next season. That should be the first thing Ineos should do. And if they're saying okay, let us continue next season. Eric, what do you want? What do you want? And Ineos should also sit with Ten Hag and tell him that this season we have seen you play very, very weird football. We don't want it. We don't want it right now. We don't want it next season. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. Okay. But if you want me to agree, you have to assure that you'll give me this, and that. You have to assure me that you'll give me this, and that. You have to assure me that you'll make the medical department better. You have to assure me that I don't have problems with players. I had problems with Sancho. I had problems with, I think there was a time with Varane. I had problems with Garnacho. Next season, I don't want to have these problems. It should be you to deal with. If they are to remain with Eric Ten Hag, and if Eric Ten Hag is also willing to remain. But if no, then they should do it fast. There is no meaning of hanging around, making it unclear, filling the media with a lot of news and rumors about managers. If we start counting right now, maybe we can even make our best 11 of the managers that have been linked to United. There are more than 11, probably even. So after the conversation, they should now come out and announce that we are going to continue with Eric Ten Hag next season, and we will back him in the transfer window. This will destroy all the rumors. There's no, we cannot go for a very big summer, and the media is filled with rumors about the manager, and you the owners, you just sit there, you see these rumors every now and then. You never know, maybe even Dennis may be linked to. You never know. Almost everyone now is getting linked to Man United job.
I saw last time I saw Thomas Frank.
Even Thomas Frank. Now even who Robert Izabi, since he also left Brighton, they now link him as the most, either the second there with the highest chance of joining or the third. This should not be. These things should not happen at Man United. And one thing is that Pep Guardiola is not going to remain at Man City forever. Yes, he has tortured us, and maybe probably even next season he will torture us, but he's not going to remain. So if Man United, if they decide to maybe go away with Eric Ten Hag, just know is that what they need to know is that they are going further backward. But if they remain with Eric Ten Hag, they will even closer that gap with Man City. That is the first thing they need to do. After that, now there are players that have one. It doesn't matter on the length of the contract. There are players that, even though they have maybe 3 years, 3 years remaining in their contract, and they see they don't belong to the project, maybe like the 3-year project of Man United. Man United has already announced that Eric Ten Hag will remain. They may not extend his contract this time, but they should at least say something that Eric Ten Hag is remaining, and we are building. Maybe it's not a must to say that Eric Ten Hag is remaining, but they can just say that we are planning together with Eric Ten Hag. Maybe like in a season-ending statement, because we have seen very many statements. So they could bring one last statement that we are planning their summer with Eric Ten Hag. Then after that, they now go to the players that not necessarily have only 1 year left in their contract, but maybe 3 years, 2 years, and they see they don't belong to the project, they should sell them. And these things should not happen in more than 1 month. By the time it's July, Euros is beginning on 14th or 13th of January.
Yeah, not of June.
Of June. Sorry. By the time Euros are like midway, it's like midway. Man United should have done most of their business. They should just now be waiting for the players to come back from Euros and join Man United, or come back from their holidays and join Man United. That is what should be happening. I would not want to see another transfer window. We are signing a player 2 days before the window is closing. We are signing a player on the deadline day. It shows that you did not plan anything. So that is, in short, that is what I want. I want Ineos to clarify on the manager. I would want, after clarifying on the manager, they should now plan on the future. in a very short time.
Thank you for that opinion. Now I want to go to the very last topic of this stream, and that is the verdict on Ten Hag. Me, I feel like this manager has a very thin line between staying and getting sacked, because this is Manchester United, the crown jewel of British football, and they have just concluded the season 8th. Let us accept, under any circumstances, this football club, this prestigious football club, shouldn't be finishing the season 8th. Whether it's injuries, whether we have sacked the manager mid-season and we have brought another manager, but I guess this is the reality we find ourselves at right now as the fans of this prestigious football club. But there is that understanding all Man United fans have at the bottom of their heart that this football club shouldn't be finishing 8th. Now, basing on that and coming to the manager, personally, I feel like the manager should get sacked. But also I find myself in between, leaning, because it looks like we have been oversacking managers and the result has been the same every time. We bring in a top manager, the players get the manager bounce, they perform in the first season, they take off their legs off the gas pedal in the second season. We see performances deteriorating. We see signs of players not following any instruction the manager is saying. No style of football, you get sacked. We've seen that happen time and again. I want this manager to get sacked. I also do not want United to be that kind of club anymore. You get a manager, he comes in, he performs very well, the story continues. So my initial thing was the manager should get sacked because we just finished 8th. But I also look at the bigger picture right now. We are not in a great state as a football club. Luckily we have some new owners that are going to take over the football side. But yeah, I think for me personally, my verdict is keep the manager back in for one more season, one more summer. If the performances haven't changed at the beginning of next season, then I guess there are no excuses, because that would have been like 3 years. So for me, my verdict, keep the manager, take Sam Deadwood. We are going to see a mass exit this summer. The players that contracts have run down, and the players that have 1 year, and probably all the fans agree that they're not good enough and they're going to go. So I feel like it's an optimistic summer coming in for me as a United fan, and for that reason, I want Ineos to keep the manager, clear Deadwood, get some proper signings, get the structure right, and we go again next season. I know it's a thin line between European football and having no European nights at all at Old Trafford. We finished 8th. The only pathway to Europe is the FA Cup. Lucky enough, if we win the FA Cup, we go to Europe. But I feel like it's a win-win for United, because the proper way of rebuilding is having completely no European football. You see these lads with less injuries, less games, and more time to train on the training ground. No rehabilitation every now and then, because the challenge with European football, we have to play on Wednesday. You have to get 1 day off for recovery, and in that 1 day, players are not training. It's only recovery, and you go back home. So with no European football, I first want to see this bunch of lads we have as players. That's why I feel like it's a win-win, this FA Cup. If we don't win, good enough. no European football next season. We see what these guys can offer. So I'm leaning towards keeping the manager. I don't know, Anthony, your verdict. As an individual, as a United fan, let me say that. Do you want United to keep this manager or pull the plug and say, you know what, Eric, we appreciate what you've done, but this is a prestigious football club. We can't be finishing eighth, and everything remains as business as usual. What is your verdict on the manager?
My verdict is keep the manager. Keep the manager for one more season. I agree with him that we don't want to see what we've been seeing last season. We want to see maybe whatever they want to say, but we don't want to see weird football. We want to win. We want to see good football. That's all. But for me, let them keep the manager for one more season.
Thank you. Dennis, what is your verdict on the manager?
I think, based on the performances that I've seen in the previous two games, the following today's result and the one in the midweek, at least I've seen something positive. So that makes me feel that these players are trying to play for their manager. And based on that, I think we can still stick with Ten Hag. Personally, I don't want him at the club anymore. I feel like if there's a better option out there, we should just go and get that manager. But I think there is no one out there yet. We are hearing Southgate, and when you hear Southgate, you would rather stay with what you have. So I think Ten Hag is a good coach. He's a good coach. This season he has been affected by injuries mostly, but I've seen these with the guys coming back, his key guys like Lisandro. I've seen some good performances coming up. So I think Ten Hag, we can still stick with him for one more season. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he performs, starting from the transfer window. How he starts recruiting more players that fits in his system. He has to recruit the players that he feels like they are the right ones for his system. So I think we can give him one more season. But still, we are still judging him because we still want to see maybe can he come up with a good performance against Man City in the FA Cup? Can he put up a fight against Man City? Like, even if we lose that game, like, can he show us something? Can he give us some hope in that game? Because that game is also crucial. Because it's an FA Cup final. It's a big chance for us to get back into Europe, and with the players that are back, Lisandro Martinez. We also have some other guys on form. There's Ahmad. We have most of the guys back. So it will also depend on that game to see where Eric Ten Hag, or to see Eric Ten Hag's fate next season. So for now, I think we can still go with Eric Ten Hag, but we need to see more. I've seen something positive in the last few games, but can he give us more hope in the final so that we stick with him next season?
Okay. That is bad. That is it. Thank you for you lads for turning up. This has been a very fascinating show. It started a little bit later than the time it should have started, but nonetheless, we kicked forward that started it. Much appreciations to the guests that tuned in today. and turned on. It has been a very good inaugural show, a live stream, the first one of its kind for United Cynicals. For our viewers, the guys that tuned in today for for inaugural show.
Who is Lance?
What has happened?
I don't know, but I think it has been a good show.
Mhm.
Viewers, we thank you, and we request you to follow, like, and even subscribe, because there's still more great content to come up on this channel. So yeah, this has been a great show and has been a great start. And as our main host said, this is the first one of its kind, and there is more to come from this. Maybe Anthony can give us your last remarks.
My last remarks. I would just tell them that there are better things coming. Just keep on tuning to this channel. Follow us on every platform, and we shall keep on delivering. So goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.